Hey everyone! So today for our bonus read aloud, we are going to be reading one of my favorite Dr. Seuss books, The Lorax. This is such a fantastic book. So whether you've read it or not, come on and enjoy this awesome book with me. So this is The Lorax by Dr. Seuss. At the end of the town where the grickle grass grows and the wind smells slow and sour when it blows and no birds ever sing excepting old crows is the street of the lifted Lorax. And deep in the grickle grass, some people say, if you look deep enough, you can still see today where the Lorax once stood, just as long as it could before somebody lifted the Lorax away. What was the Lorax, and why was it there? And why was it lifted and taken somewhere? From the far end of town where the grickle grass grows, the old Onceler still lives there. Ask him. He knows. You won't see the Onceler. Don't knock at his door. He stays in his lurkin at the top of his store. He lurks in his lurkin, cold under the roof, where he makes his own clothes out of muffled moof. And on special Dankman nights in August he peeks out of the shutters, and sometimes he speaks and tells how the Lorax was lifted away. He'll tell you perhaps, if you're willing to pay. And you can see the Onceler's eyes in this illustration just like peeking out from his lines. At the end of a rope, he lets down a tin pail you have to toss in 15 cents and a nail and the shell of a great-great-grandfather snail. Pause. Tell me 2 ways that you can make 15 cents. I'll give you 10 seconds. Ready? Go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Tell me, what ways can you make 15 cents? I'm assuming you got them right. Way to go! Then he pulls up the pail, makes a most careful count to see if you've paid him the proper amount. Then he hides what you've paid him away in his snub, a secret strange hole in his groovulous glove. Then he grunts, I will call you by whisper my phone, for the secrets I tell you are for your ears alone. Slop down the slap. Would you like to come read? No? Okay. And whisper my phone to your ear, and the old Onceler's whispers are not very clear, since they have not come down through the snurgly hose, and he sounds as if he's had smallish bees up his nose. Now I'll tell you, he says, with his teeth sounding gray, how the Lorax got lifted and taken away. It all started way back, such a long, long time back. Way back in the days when the grass was still green and the pond was still wet and the clouds were still clean, the song of the Swami Swans rang out in space. One morning I came to this glorious place, and I first saw the trees, the truffula trees, the bright colored tufts on the truffula trees, mile after mile in the fresh morning breeze. I just want to look real quick. Look how different the illustrations are. Like you can see it's got some dark blues and some dark purples. And then we turn the page and it's bright with the oranges and the pinks and the yellows, and it's so pretty. So I wonder what the author is trying to tell us by making these illustrations so different just by turning the page. What do you think? And under the trees, I saw brown barbaloots frisking about in their barbaloot suits as they played in the shade and ate truffula fruits. From the ripulous pond came a comfortable sound of the humming fish humming while splashing around. But those trees, those truffula trees. All my life I'd been searching for trees such as these. The touch of their tufts was softer than silk, and they had the sweet smell of fresh butterfly milk. I felt a great leaping of joy in my heart. I knew just what I'd do. I unloaded my cart. In no time at all, I had built a small shop. I had chopped down a truffula tree with one chop, and with a great skillful skill and with a great speedy speed, I took the soft tuft and I knitted a thneed. You can see him knitting the thneed right here. I wonder why Dr. Seuss chooses to never show the Onceler's face. Why do you think so? Then an instant, I heard a great gazump. I looked and I saw something pop out of a stump. The tree I chopped down was sort of a man. Describe him? That's hard. I don't know if I can. He was shortish, and oldish and brownish and mossy, and he spoke with a voice that was sharpish and bossy. "Mister," he said with a sawdusty sneeze, "I'm the Lorax, and I speak for the trees. I speak for the trees have no tongues, and I'm asking you, sir, at the top of my lungs." He was very upset as he shouted and puffed, "What's that thing you've made out of my truffula tuft?" "Look, Lorax," I said, "there's no cause for alarm. I just chopped one tree. I'm doing no harm. I'm being quite useful. This thing is a thneed. A thneed is a fine something that all people need. It's a shirt, it's a sock, it's a glove, it's a hat, but it has other uses. Yes, far beyond that. You can use it for carpets, for pillows, for sheets, or curtains or covers for bicycle seats." The Lorax said, "Sir, you are crazy with greed. There is no one on earth who would buy that full thneed." By the very next minute, I proved he was wrong. For just that minute, a chap came along, and he thought that the thneed I had knitted was great, and he happily bought one for $3.98. I laughed at the Lorax. "You poor silly guy, you can never tell what people will buy." If you bought a thneed, what would you use it for? Would you use it for a hat, a jacket, a bicycle seat cover? What would you use your thneed for? "I repeat," cried the Lorax, "I speak for the trees." "I'm busy," I told him. "Be quiet, if you please." I rushed across the room and in no time at all built a radio phone, and I put in a quick call. I called on my brothers and uncles and aunts, and I said, "Listen here, here's a wonderful chance for the whole Onceler family to get mighty rich. Get over here fast, take the road to North Nitch, turn left at the Weehawken, sharp right at South Stitch." Oh goodness, and you can see his whole family has come and they're all knitting those thneeds in what looks kind of like a factory. And in no time at all, in the factory I built, the whole Onceler family was working full tilt. We were all knitting thneeds just as busy as beads to the sound of the chopping of the truffula trees. Something tells me this isn't gonna be good. Then, oh baby, oh, how my business did grow. Now chopping one tree at a time was too slow. So I quickly invented my super axe hacker, which whacked off 4 truffula trees at one smacker. We were making thneeds 4 times as fast as before, and that Lorax, he didn't show up anymore. But the next week he knocked on my new office door. He snapped, "I'm the Lorax, I speak for the trees, which you seem to be chopping as fast as you please. But I'm also in charge of the brown barbaloots, who play in the shade in their barbaloot suits and happily lived eating truffula fruits. Now, thanks to your hacking my trees to the ground, there's not enough truffula fruit to go round. And my poor barbaloots are getting the crummies because they have gas and no food in their tummies." You can see how sad the barbaloots are. "They loved living here, but I can't let them stay. They'll have to find food, and I hope that they may. Good luck, boys," he cried, and he sent them away. I, the Onceler, felt sad as I watched them go, but business is business, and business must grow, regardless of crummies and tummies, you know. And they all are leaving. Sad. I meant no harm, I most truly did not, but I had to grow bigger, so bigger I got. I biggered my factory, I biggered my roads, I biggered my wagons, I biggered the loads. Of the thneeds I shipped out, I was shipping them forth to the south, to the east, to the west, to the north. I went right on biggering, selling more thneeds, and I biggered my money, which everyone needs. Then again he came back. I was fixing some pipes when that old nuisance Lorax came back with more gripes. "I am the Lorax." He coughed and he whiffed and he sneezed, achoo, and he snuffed and he snarled and he sniffed. "Onceler," he cried with a cruffulous croak, "Onceler, you're making such a smogulous smoke. My poor swami swans, why they can't sing a note. No one can sing who has smog in their throats." You can see all that smog that his factory's making, and it's not good for those birds. "So," said the Lorax, "please pardon my cough. They cannot live here, so I'm sending them off. Where will they go? I don't hopefully know. They may fly for a month or a year to escape the smog that you've smogged up around here." "What's more," snapped the Lorax, his dander was up, "let me say a few words about your gluppity-glup. Your machinery chugs on day and night without stop, making gluppity-glup and sloppity-slop. And what do you do with this leftover glue? I'll show you, you dirty once-ler man, you. You're glumping the pond where the humming fish hummed. No one can hum, for their gills are all gummed. So I'm sending them off. Oh, their future is dreary. They'll walk on their fins and get woefully weary in search of some water that isn't so smeary. I would not want to swim in that water. That looks gross. And then I got mad. I got terribly mad. I yelled at the Lorax. Now listen here, Dad. All you do is yap yap and say bad, 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 bad. Well, I have my rights, sir, and I'm telling you, I intend to go on just doing what I do. And for your information, your Lorax, I'm figuring on biggering and biggering and biggering. Turning more truffula trees into thneeds, which everyone needs. What character trait would you use to describe the once-ler at this point in the story? Go ahead and talk with someone near you, or just say it to yourself, a character trait about the once-ler right now. And at that very moment, we heard a loud whack. From outside in the fields came a sickening smack of the axe of a tree. Then we heard the tree fall. The very last truffula tree of them all. Oh no. No more trees, no more thneeds, no more work to be done. So in no time, my uncles and aunts and everyone all waved me goodbye. They jumped into my cars and drove away under the smoke-smokered stars. Now all that was left, neath the bad-smelling sky, was my big empty factory, the Lorax and I. So they cut down all those truffula trees. There were no more left, so they couldn't make any more thneeds because they didn't have any more truffula trees. The Lorax said nothing, just gave me a glance, just gave me a very sad backward glance, and he lifted himself by the seat of his pants. And I'll never forget the grim look on his face while he hoisted himself and took leave of the place through a hole in the smog without leaving a trace. And all that Lorax left here is this mess in a small pile of rocks with the one word, unless. Whatever that meant, well, I couldn't guess. That was long, long ago, but each day since that day, I've sat here and worried away. Throughout the years, while my buildings have fallen apart, I've worried about it with all of my heart. And notice how those illustrations, they're dark again, rather than when we were living in the happy truffula tree land. They were nice and bright, but now the illustrations are dark again. Interesting choice. But now, said the once-ler, now that you're here, the word of the Lorax seems perfectly clear. This is a good quote, so listen. Unless someone like you cares a whole lawful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. So catch, called the once-ler. He let something fall. It's a truffula seed. It's the last one of all. You're in charge of the last of the truffula seeds, and the truffula trees are what everyone needs. Plant a new truffula, treat it with care, give it clean water, and feed it fresh air. Grow a forest, protect it from axes that hack. Then the Lorax and all of his friends may come back. And then you can see him peeking out at the Lorax. So I do love that quote, that unless someone like you cares an awful lot, nothing's going to get better. It's not. That just shows that we are change makers and we have the awesome opportunity to impact our world, just like that little boy's going to do when he plants more truffula trees. I hope you guys enjoyed The Lorax by Dr. Seuss for your bonus read aloud today, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye, everyone.